Hello again, and welcome back to The Mouse Says, The Butler Didn't Do It mystery series, written by myself, Nico Scher, under the pen name of Cheryl Ann Butler. Today we once again join Storm in his search for his home, a place he can live and enjoy life. He's found his birth father, and he's found out more information about the man who was supposed to be his father, along with the background within the family. It's Thanksgiving Day, and they have gone to not only his doctors, but they've gone to a hairstylist that is his father Graham's friend, and turns out to be a very special lady in his life. Then they returned home to find there was a problem with the Crystal Heart Lodge Inn Bed and Breakfast. And in doing so, Graham had a reaction to situations that created flashbacks. In doing so, they needed to move out because of a heating situation with the inn. And now they are on their way to do clothes shopping. There may be some other things that occur throughout this situation. So, once again, we join A New Hope Thanksgiving at Chapter 74. As they parked the Porsche in the customer's parking lot next to Destiny's F-150 and started down Main Street to Vintage Always, it started to drizzle, then turned into heavy onset of rain. The Black Friday sales were already going strong, and people were drinking hot beverages as they shopped and stopped to speak to friends. Even with the oncoming storm and the cold that was setting in, it had a true holiday feel of things. As they opened the store's door, there was a clap of thunder, and the skies opened with a nasty downpour. Destiny was already shopping when they removed their coats to hang on the rack that was provided over a small drain. "Hey, BFF," Graham greeted. "This storm shouldn't last too long, unless it turns into snow." Her smile faded when she turned to him. "What happened? Is your dad okay? How about you two?" Graham smiled and turned to Storm. "What did I tell you? She can read me like a book. She's my witchy poo. What can I say?" He turned back to her as he bit his lip. Flashback. PTSD moment. "I remembered something about my so-called birthday party." He made air quotes. "That caused a freeze frame. I told Dad, who, let us say, his protector side came out, and he came unglued and handled a few old issues besides mine with a couple of old rivals over Mom from back in the day." Storm leaned in. Grandpa whipped ass on a set of brothers that were also father with his son, and got information for Uncle Jim, Detective Allman, and Chief Dakota. And we now know why Dad didn't know where his tilly-tally got to. His bike rig. "Can they use this to prosecute?" she asked him as she stepped forward. Dakota believes so. They have the DNA evidence. Statute of limitation is 11 to 20 years. We're still under the time, so he crossed his fingers. "And so you know, Mom and Dad are at my place with Tootie, RCC, and Buddy. And this one moved in with me. The B&B. I know. Jordy, Chandra, Robert, and Luke told me. They said the plumbing has been slag heaped for years. It's been rigged to have problems. It was just a matter of time. This Hills family has been handling the inn for over 100 years. No more. We're now cranberry customers, Graham told her. Cool. When I talked to your mom, she said you guys and your dad came up with a list of clothing needs. Graham looked to Storm and then back to her. To hell with the list. He needs everything. Can you say shopping spree? And we may need to have your F-150 bring it to the house, because Dad insisted on at least 5 bills worth of Eagle stuff. He found a Cowboys hoodie. And with all this one needs, he tilted his head toward Storm. I got the Boxster. Destiny laughed. It isn't going to fit in your trunk. Exactly. Okay, where do we start? She asked as she turned to the racks. Where do you suggest? Destiny looked over at the owners, who stood behind the counter. Guys, what era would look good on Storm? The 2 men came from the counter and the racks. My word, Graham, I didn't remember Jim, Chrissy, and you having a younger brother. He looks so much like your dad. Happy Thanksgiving, by the way. Donnie smiled and offered his hand. Graham took it. Same to you. But he's not my brother, though. Gentlemen, this is my 15-year-old son, Storm. Storm, Donnie, and Kiwi Sacrolarisus, owners extraordinaire, and also known as the brothers Sacrolarisus, if you can pronounce it. Greetings were exchanged and well wishes for the day. Parachute pants are no good. He's too tall. Donnie shook his head. He isn't done growing. Definitely jeans. Distressed. A couple of pairs of chino for dress-up. Kiwi tapped his chin. White tees are a must. So are black. A couple of red and a few dark blue flannels for over the tees. Donnie bowed his head to look sideways. They looked at each other as Donnie glanced up. A gray. Kiwi looked at Donnie. A black hoodie, denim jacket. He'll need a Sharpa because it gets old up here with him it gets cold up here with him going to school, and one of those will last him a lifetime through college. Don turned to look at the racks. A few turtlenecks, several of them for under sweaters. Kiwi agreed. Oh, he'll need a Christmas sweater. The ugliest one we can find for your family's ugly Christmas sweater party. Graham? A full-length trench like Dad's. Black, Donnie nodded. Guys, Dad handed me $500. He wants Eagles wear. This one showed up with a cowboy sweat. Oh, Donnie shuddered. Bad choice. Kiwi shook his head. Grandpa burned it in the fireplace as he and RCC did some kind of funky war dance over it. Lions touchdown victory dance with the fly eagles fly movements included, Graham explained. He's still got the moves and he's teaching them to RCC. Oh shit, he was pissed, Donnie chuckled. Go for it, crazy legs, Kiwi smiled. Oh. These guys, their dad is Damian Sacrolaris. He was one of the male cheerleaders for the Lions, which Jolas Gould and my Uncle Reuben, Graham explained. Those 3 are with Aunt Lottie were also on the high school gymnastics team. Both of these clowns here in front of you were on the second male gymnastics squad, with your Aunt Chrissy on the Olympic team in Atlanta, and they were in the park when the Unabomber's bomb went off and took Chrissy to the ground to keep her safe. Donnie, Keeve, you up to? No prob. Kiwi shrugged. He lifted his sweater and shirt to show the severe burn scar. Donnie turned to lift the side of his long hair to show the scarring from him being cut by the shrapnel that was in the bomb. We were within 30 feet when that bitch went up. That's where the scar on Chrissy's chin comes from. Neither of us could protect her from slamming her chin into the pavement. And when she came up, she got my bleeding stopped and poured our water bottles over Kiwi to stop the burning. Then ran and got help for us. She refractured her left foot in that all-out run, and we all spent time in the hospital. Our dads came and got us. We missed the rest of the game and the closing ceremony, Donnie explained. Storm's eyes went wide. We all survived, though, and these two guys with your Uncle LeBou have pounded her ex Farouk and his twin brother Fassar into pudding at least twice and protected Pearl, Devo, and the twins. Destiny smiled. Hey, that's what godfathers are for. When two badass uncles and a granddaddy can't be there, and daddy is running a little behind, caught in traffic. We each have kids their age, the twins anyway, and they started it. We just finished it, TV smiled. Ghram high-fived each of them. Also, guys, back to this. We have an issue with Storm's feet. Ghram drew their attention and pointed to Storm's feet clad in slippers behind the walker. We need to wait on shoes, sneakers, and boots. We may get away with woolen fur-lined slip-ons. He has surgery on Monday. Surgery for what? They looked down past the walker that Storm leaned on. I have club foot, both feet, and spinal bifida, Storm explained. Oh, we have got to measure you properly when you've healed, and only when you've healed. But we have the perfect boots, military. Donnie crouched down to take a closer look. Ghram, he has bruises. Whatever shoes he was wearing before this was way too tight. I recognized Dr. Farr's slippers. Good choice to let them heal. My sister wore them as well. He's going to be wearing the slippers until surgery, Ghram explained. The ones I'm thinking of, Donnie, that Donnie has in mind are Lost Boys style. Buckles up to the knee. They help to give support. Take it from one who knows. Kiwi tapped his leg. Our baby sister had surgery 35 plus years ago. Donnie stood. Ghram, Storm, do you need undergarments? Yes, socks and a bunch of them. They were holier than thou. Mom ditched them all, Ghram explained. Okay, Storm, I'm going to get a little personal here. Take a deep breath. Donnie held out his hand. All right, Storm paused. He smiled and raised an eyebrow. These gentlemen are great. Grandpa was right. They are totally cool, Storm thought. Okay, boxers, briefs, or fitted boxers. I don't think your dad would approve of bikinis or a pair of G-strings. No, I would not, Donnie. Ghram shook his head. I don't wear them things, and he's only 15. They looked at each other. We agree, came from Kiwi. Oh, yes, most definitely. Way too young. Donnie gave a knowing nod. I would flip if I found a pair of those in Oscar's drawer. His mom would divorce me in a heartbeat if she found them. Destiny gave a slow nod. No way is he wearing something like that. His grandma finds them when she's putting things away. And look out, she is old school on that. Dad, what would you recommend? Because Storm blinked and added a shade of pink to his cheeks in embarrassment. Go a la naturel, Destiny provided with a smile. With my hip problems, nothing really fits right. Damn it! Ghram turned around and smacked himself in the head. That's right. He has hip displacement and was diagnosed as a child about age 10 with rickets that caused his problems. Ghram almost growled, sounding a lot like Chris. Then I will recommend fitted boxers, Donnie advised. He looked at Kiwi. I concur. Fitted boxers. Kiwi nodded. They took his measurements and started to pull items from the racks. It was either yes, and it was placed on the counter, or no, and went back into the rack. Storm, do you have a watch? Destiny asked. He shook his head. I did, but it's not keeping time right. After my fur babies and I took the downhill slide and got wet in the creek, it wasn't waterproof. She tapped Gram's arm and pointed to the glass display case. Ghram looked at it and gave a nod. Timex Ironman. Good choice. It was placed on the counter as Ghram pushed his hair behind his right ear. Dad? Storm looked over. Yeah, he turned. What do you wear in your ear? Ghram looked at him and reached to his right ear to tap the dangling cross, surrounded by a pentagram that laid over the Star of David, created all in silver. He shot a look at Destiny. I had that made by Edward. It's for both our families' religious beliefs and background. I pierced Dad's ear the first Valentine's Day we were together in college. He's worn it ever since. She chewed her lip. It's beautifully crafted like the cat's charms, Dad. That's what caught my eye. I thought it might be one Mr. Edward created. It's cool. I just noticed it when you put your hair behind your ear. He went back to look at some household items he was thinking about getting for the dogs and their new home. Destiny smiled at Ghram. You have a totally cool son. Yeah, I do, don't I? You said Tootie is with you and RCC and Buddy, right? Yes, not sure with Tootie, but I'm going to look for stuff for RCC and Buddy. That way, they'll have several changes of clothes if Tootie can't get into her place for them. Great idea. Thank you. I didn't think about that. Destiny started to look. With bags weighing them down, they thanked the men and started their walk back to the vehicles and the still light drizzle of the crisp early evening. The rain picked up, as did the wind. At one point, there was a streak of lightning, followed by a clash of thunder that had them froze in a doorway of a business just a few buildings down the street. Chapter 75. As they walked, Destiny nudged Ghram in passing the window display, which Storm stopped to look in. While in the doorway, she caught the sight of a slow-moving SUV. They're moving slow. There's a large, dark SUV that's following us. I took notice to it before you and Storm walked into the store. Donnie pointed it out to me, and Kiwi mentioned he saw it and that they were trolling the street throughout the day when he went to bring lunch for them from the new Cafe Tel Aviv, the Jewish deli that their Jewish soldier now runs. The guys thought they were tourists at first, but then their wives, Glenda and Beverly, realized they haven't gotten out of the vehicle even to do window shopping or grab a bite to eat at a cafe or even pick up a coffee from Starbucks. They haven't been even walking the street. So they're stalking someone. Ghram nodded. They've been up and down Maine, and Bev said They seem to cruise the business area of the side streets, but they have not parked anywhere. They just drive back and forth. They have been in town all day from before sunup. Ghram looked at Storm. Before the sun came up. Remember the two families ride their bikes to work. They live on the back street behind Pine Road. Several of the owners and managers have taken notice, and they seem to slow as they pass Mystic Moments. They're looking for someone or something, like they're scoping the place out. Looking for my son, I bet, Ghram growled. Can you tell what kind of car it is? No, never seen one like it before. It's like they're casing certain places as well. No one likes it. They've called the police on it, but as they haven't done anything, the police can't do anything about it. But it's the beginning of the Christmas shopping season, so it's difficult to tell what's with it. You know what I'm saying, Ghram? Ghram started to turn. Destiny took his arm. No. She shook her head. Looking for something, casing the town for a burglary, or looking for someone. Ghram focused on the window. Jess, Rain, and Stevie. The Billocks are across the street. They noticed it too. The truck. Is the passenger watching Storm? That front window is unusually dark, but the driver's window is partially down. Cold night like this, I can't make out the passenger, but they are leaning over to look, or it seems like they're watching. No, Ghram. Storm changed his appearance too much thanks to the new outfit he just changed into and the hairstyle and soul patch. He's also using the walker. Plus, thanks to you, he's standing taller and not slouching. He's got your pride and the pride of your dad and Jim. He's actually standing at about 5'9". Grandbaby, I think they're watching you. He watched the window's reflection and saw it along with noticing Jess starting towards the vehicle. Jess's head was down and his fists were raised like he was a boxer in the ring and stalking his opponent and gauging him for the knockout. The truck was stopped in the middle of the road in a traffic snarl of the combined shopping district and historic area. But Ghram couldn't tell what make or model the vehicle was because the reflection was marred by the rain streaks. He didn't dare to turn and let them know he'd seen them. Destiny was correct on that part. However, so did Storm take notice and whispered to himself, "Why is that thing so quiet?" Ghram looked at him. "What, Storm?" Storm focused on the window. "Dad, Mom, let's get to the cars. I got a real bad feeling about that thing. I don't know why, but it's making me feel twitchy. It kind of looks like that thing Reed was in, but the grill or something is different. Move at a regular pace, but you're right, we need to go now." Ghram started to walk. "Son," Destiny quietly called, "I want to look at that store window 2 doors down. Stop there." Her voice was loud enough for anyone on the street to hear. She bumped Gram's shoulder. "I'm going to do something, BFF. Get ready and don't..." Ghram looked at her. "Panic? Please do like you used to do in high school in public." "You got it, baby." 200 more steps and Storm slowed with the walker. "Sweetheart, stop a moment. I want to look there," Destiny called out in a raised voice. He did and stepped up onto the steps to look in the bay window of Mystic Moments. Destiny tugged Ghram up to the window. She set down the bags and to look in it as it was shielded by an awning to protect from the rain. As she did, she looked at the display of cauldron, wands, and live planted herbs, with decks of tarot cards on display and a line of crystals in the window of Mystic Moments. The vehicle inched forward, still caught in the tangle of cars, trucks, and other SUVs. Storm leaned against the railing of Coco Chanel's covered heated yard, where the flower cart was displayed. As he reached over to have the large dog snuffle his hand, he smiled. "Hi, Aunt Liliana." "Hello, big beautiful girl. How's your mama and papa and your granddogs?" "Hi, sweetie. Keep an eye on that truck," her computerized voice stated as she handed him a large dog biscuit. "My fur babies are enjoying the day, but going to miss being with their friends, as those idiots have created a problem with our beloved Crystal Heart Lodge in bed and breakfast." "Those shitheads." "Yes, ma'am. I will keep an eye on the truck." He gave the dog her biscuit. "We're watching, Annie," Ghram whispered. Destiny smiled. "The flowers are beautiful, Aunt Liliana, and I handled the situation with the Bridezilla nightmare today. It's done and over with." "Never saw anything like that." Very much upset, Lottie and Shauna, while they and the boys were here, we started the preparation for dinner. They placed a phone call to the store here. Daisy took it and had to cut them short. They then contacted Cherry at the music shop to see if JJ could be persuaded to step in. "Cherry, you know my daughter-in-law's disposition." She told them where to head in at, and then they had the nerve to place the call to Washington's Crossing. And another idiot, Dahlia Walsh, who is almost as big as a dingbat as Noel Franks, managed to turn around and give them Beck's home number. And they called her to see if she could do something. Liliana worked on a bouquet she was putting together from the flowers she held in her lap. All this because they thought all they needed to do was to pull into the park and use the Durham and Longboat storage barns for the reception. Those boats are historical, and so are the barns. They aren't. Storm paused and blinked. "They aren't up for rent." "Yes, they are." And she asked if they were nuts. Then Happy takes the next call, and it's from the park supervisor, and he inquires what is going on and why now State Representative Donald Von Torp is calling him to see if these things could be arranged and he could get involved. Bet spent half of the day explaining the situation, and his comment was, "Where do they get off thinking they can just do this type of shit just because they have money and contributed to his re-election attempt?" The state manager of the park was furious, Bet said. Ghram shook his head. "When their money talks, some people think no one walks." "Exactly. And when our Montegray comes in, she tells us they called her at the candy store to see if she could intervene, as they wanted to buy gift boxes of chocolate from her. They had never even spoken to her about this before. They were going to walk in the week before and asked her to make up 600 10-piece candy boxes." "What?" That drew Destiny's head in a jerk to look at her. "Oh, yes, they did. And, my dear, you three be safe and keep an eye on that thing. They've been cruising all day. It's not good, and I believe... Chuck and Maggie! Thank you! And I believe I saw Reed when that SUV was headed towards Washington's Crossing. We will. Destiny checked out the crystals, then turned to face Ghram and reached up to twirl a gloved index finger in one of his long curls and leaned up. Get ready. Baby, I'm coming in for a landing. She pulled him towards her. Storm watched in the reflection of the window. Ghram closed his eyes and met her lips. But also he, like Liliana, as she fixed the bouquet by the propane heater, kept a closer watch on the SUV. Merlin climbed into the window display to look out. The big, beautiful white cat sat there looking at him with his molten gold eyes. It was like his eyes went from the SUV to Ghram and then to Storm. Storm took a step back as he saw the shadow of a woman in a long 19th century dress in the store. He looked up. "Grandma," he whispered. "Dad, look in the window. Is that..." Ghram leaned his head to pop open one eye. He stiffened and looked at Storm. Ghram gave a nod to his birth mother. He realized his son was now clairvoyant, like himself. Chapter 76. Ghram saw the woman as well. Standing next to her was a man in a Union uniform of the Civil War. James Hallahan and Mary Catherine Shenanigan. Jesus and our Queen. Ghram blinked. He bowed his head. He stared at Ranella as she bowed her head back to him. "What, Dad? Do you?" "Yes, they know. And I need to get you with Stevie and Aunt Sunny. Stormy, I think you're clairvoyant. You do... Wait a minute. You do see them, right? The 3 of them, yes." Storm raised a hand to wave. Ghram pressed his lips to Destiny and let the bags drop to reach behind her and gripped her bottom to lift her. Storm saw his father tremble, but calm, as the scent of Destiny's Chanel No. 5 engulfed them and was enhanced by the light breeze that lifted his father's Drakkar on the wind. He turned back to the window and realized his grandmother was smiling. He watched as his dad's tremors settled, and he gentled his kiss as he breathed in Destiny's scent. The teen's face grew warm as he saw the bulge occur in Gram's still tight-fitting jeans, borrowed from his D2 in silver, and Ghram pressed into Destiny to hide it. She, in return, wiggled and gave a visual squirm. "Oh, shit. Aunt Liliana," Storm mumbled. "I'm a freaking voyeur." His eyes now focused with more intent on the SUV that crept up. "No, you are not. That's romance, child." She fixed the bow. "Keep an eye on that car." "Yes, ma'am." She set the bouquet in her lap. "All right, you two. That's enough." Her computer voice added a chuckle. A new gimmick, shekel shear and team shear, added to her unit. Hers was the only one to have it. The damn thing actually chuckled. Storm put his hands on his hips as he still faced the window. Ranella smiled, as did James and Mary Catherine. He didn't know how many generations back, but they were the married couple that started the general store and turned it into what it was now. They were the first American witches in his family. Mama, Daddy, why don't y'all go get yourselves a room? God almighty, y'all wouldn't think you've been together all these years or something. Storm put on his best Bo Duke impression. All that was missing was the yee-haw and the charger jumping a creek. Destiny burst out laughing and rested her forehead on Graham's chest as he set her feet back on the ground. Don't move yet, Graham warned, or Dakota will arrest me for indecent exposure in these damn jeans. Graham made a movement and left out a huff. She stood on tiptoes to look up at him, and over his shoulder, with her height of 5'10", she could manage his 6 foot without a problem. Graham threw his head back and roared with laughter as the rain filled the night as she brushed against him to intensify everything. Damn it, woman! Then he glanced at the window to sober. Aunt Liliana, what in the Sam Hill is Jess doing? He's almost on top of the back passenger door of that friggin' thing. For fuck's sake, is he reaching for it? He's shimmering. Stevie and Annie, they're holding him back with their gifts. Look at their hands, her computer spoke. What the fuck? Destiny leaned around him. Aunt Liliana, Stevie, did she and Annie just freeze him with that grasp? There's blue sparks and they're everywhere. People are watching, standing still, drinking their coffee, and everyone has stopped talking. The two of them are acting like it's nothing, and Annie she just jerked her hand into like a fist. Liliana smiled. She's a gifted Ukrainian witch. Stevie and she are well matched and have become close. She has been welcomed as part of the coven and has been a welcomed sister. Ivina is coming along nicely also. Dennis has abilities as well. I believe Dima may too. And I know the baby does. Storm bit his lips and watched the SUV. The shoppers and tourists think it's a holiday show of some type, but they stopped him from doing something stupid and his gifts have come in. They've collided, Liliana explained. That is what those sparks are. The SUV accelerated, cutting through traffic, and disappeared north on Main as the traffic cleared and several cars pulled to the side. But through the drizzle and now the incoming fog off of the river, neither Storm or Graham could tell what kind of vehicle it actually was, other than huge, black, and it seemed to be silent. Graham released Destiny, and they picked up the bag, seeing Jess being helped to his feet more than once by Rain and Dima. He seems to be okay. She may have just Pokemon zapped him. Wonder what the hell he did this time to piss his little spooky sis off. Graham smiled. He watched for a few seconds as the woman took seats, and Stevie started to growl at Jess. Here, you will take these to your mom. Liliana held out the bouquet to him. She is very upset, even though she is holding it together about the inn. Graham bowed his head, sniffed the flowers, and said to her, Yes, Auntie, and they are always beautiful. She turned with the big dog to head into the shop without another word. Graham picked up the bags with Destiny and tucked the flowers into one of them. You can believe she'll make a call to Mom, and then, what are you doing? Ranella waved her fingers at her grandson. Merlin hopped from the windowsill. His grandmother was gone. So were his ancestors. Storm licked his lips. I'm calling this in as a sighting to Dakota, Destiny answered, with her phone to her ear, as they turned and started to walk back to the parking area. Dakota, huge dark SUV is in town. It has been cruising the main drag all day. You were notified before, but can't do anything about it. This is an update. I've had reports, as you know. They turned the corner to walk into the parking area. Well, you're going to get a call from Miss Liliana. It seems like they were stalking Ghram. We're headed to the pub for dinner. She unlocked the truck as they placed the bags in the back seat. Thanks, I'll send out a notice. Ghram, can you and Storm hear me? Yes? Be careful. Whatever you do, don't get near that vehicle. I just got a call from Stevie. They're at the Jewish Deli, Tel Aviv, and there's something. One of the kids that works there is saying they've got an odd feeling about it. It's the boy named Brooks. Storm let go of a breath he'd not realized he was holding. I know Brooks. He lives out in the woods with some type of big cat. Ghram turned to look at him. Got it. I ain't crazy, but Jess seems to be going for it. I don't know what that was all about. Just be safe. We'll deal with this. Destiny ended the call and looked at Storm as Dakota yelled over the phone, "Damn it, Jim, be careful." Storm stopped and looked at her. What's on your mind, Mom? Destiny smiled. Mom, huh? It was the first thing I thought of. Sorry, he dropped his head. Don't do that. That head don't drop, sweetie. Look at us, she smiled. He raised his head to look up. You know, it's not a bad idea. Reveal time, Destiny? Ghram wagged his eyebrows. I think so, but let's get out of the rain, and I need one of our stiff drinks to warm me up. Ghram closed the door on the Ford to put his key in the lock of the Porsche and opened the door as she climbed across the front seat of the truck. The man got into the sports car. Backing out, they drove to O'Shaughnessy's pub where they planned to have dinner that night. Chapter 77. They entered the restaurant were seated to be given the menus by Polka Dot Shear. Be careful, she warned as she leaned down. Pop Sean is watching and he's waiting for a signal from you. He will not hesitate to make a police call. And there will be a Donnybrook, the likes of which you ain't ever seen before. But you know my dad friend, because of the shit with hide and seek 10 years ago. This shit Reed pulled. And you throwing him out of our pub. He wouldn't fire a warning shot across his bow. He'll hit the decks a-running and spin those guns around and sink that German battleship, the Bismarck. He's always felt he owed you over our little lass. That me sister, Strawberry and Cream, left for him to raise after she and Elam were both killed in Afghanistan. She is our baby girl, after all, and so is Ireland. Ghram looked to the bar. Where are they? Polka Dotted glanced down the hallway. They both ran to the men's room, but they'll be back. Ghram nodded. That may be wise. Thank you, because Philadelphia has an APB on someone that resembles them. Has the blonde woman walked in here with them? He'd already taken notice to Reed and Reggie as they came down the hallway to take their seats at the bar. As they ducked in the ball caps they wore, but didn't want to cause a scene with families being in the restaurant on Thanksgiving evening. Destiny has made one call already. Polka Dot gave a nod. A woman, yes, she walked in, but not a blonde. Redhead. Only it weren't natural. And it weren't professional like your lady there does when you see the highlights. This was a cheap-ass box job. Seems she knew several here, as she had herself a look about and left within seconds. Your waitress tonight is Carrie Bloomington. And Graham, thank you for finding her for us. The children who come make a request to be set in her station. They love her as we do, and she is so good with the wee ones. She's always be playing with a goof with them. 'Tis a true blessing she is, and she do a fair brogue to be sure as well. She squeezed his shoulder, then stepped away. They took their coats off to hang on the chairs and took their seats. Hi, Mr. Calhoun, Miss Cranberry, Storm. Can I get you all something from the bar while you look at the menu? Destiny, our usual, Graham asked. Storm watched his father and her. Yes, please. Storm, no worries, Destiny smiled. Carrie, how's your mom and the girls doing today? She didn't have any issues with that oven, did she? That dang thing does need to be replaced. We're doing okay now. Mom was a little upset about the inn having to be closed, but of course she understands it would be way too cold to try to work in that situation. It just really made her mad, though. She's really ticked off about what was done to the beautiful old building and its historical background. She made a call to ask the Cranberries to check the carriage house for her after the Hills doing that kind of damage just to keep their own business going for all these years. But it seems the carriage house is okay with the plumbing. The oven worked great, though. She had to fiddle a bit with one of the burners, but it turned out to have some coffee grounds stuck in a few of the gas outlets. Letty took a toothbrush to it, and we cleared it. It's working fine now. Thank you for telling Mom not to worry about the inn shutting until the heat is fixed, and keeping her pay coming in, and for getting me hired here after that incident. I love working here. The O'Shaughnessy's are the best folks to work for. That's next to yours. You're quite welcome. Keep up your grades, and if you need help, let us know, and we'll get Jess the mess involved. Don't hesitate to ask for help. Your family has gone through too much as it is, or any of the girls or Mom need anything, you let us know. We'd like 2 Shirley Temples on the rocks. He looked at Storm. Son, would you like to try one? It's made up of ginger ale with grenadine syrup over ice and a cherry. No alcohol. Storm sighed. Sounds good, Dad. 3 of them, please, Carrie. One with a strip of candied ginger, please. Destiny is feeling the cold from the rain. Oh, Mr. Sean has something he wishes to try out. It's crystallized ginger flakes. He made them himself. I'll bring over a small cup. Miss Cranberry, if you sprinkle a little bit on top, it's very good and has a warming effect. Delicious with herb tea. I've never had it with the homemade ginger ale, but I bet it would be really good, too. That does sound good. I'll be glad to try and be the gentleman's guinea pig, Destiny smiled. She nodded and stepped away from the table. Being a little brave and trying one of his concoctions. There, aren't you, babe? Ghram smiled. Hey, I'm in love with you. I like living a little dangerously, she winked. That caused Ghram to chuckle as he turned to Storm. Before we order, Destiny and I have been thinking about something. We need you to keep a good secret for us until we figure things out. But as you're my son, we want you to be a big part of this. Okay. Storm squinted at them. Ghram smiled and put out his hand. Destiny took it. You kind of hit the nail on the head when you called me Mom, Destiny smiled. I'd like to have a baby and start a family. Dad and I had talked about this before you came into our world. Now that you're part of us, we need to talk to you and get your opinion because this choice will affect you. If we choose to do this, you become a big brother. But you're both... He sat back for a second and blinked. How would that work? I mean, he closed one eye and thought, I think this would be cool. A little brother or sister and a mom that really truly loves my dad like you do. But how, I don't even know if I should ask this. He bit his lip. I mean, it's part of nature, but Dad, Mom, would you guys mind explaining? I don't want to make a wrong call. I got questions and we got you covered. We understand. And Dad and I will gladly explain and thank you for being brave enough to let us know you have questions and try to figure out how to ask them. You are as intelligent as Dad, and I will be very glad if all goes well and you say yes to something else we will ask in a few moments. Destiny's smile lit up her face in a beautiful glow. Ghram grinned. It works the same way for us, he shrugged, as it would for a straight couple. This would not be through IVF or surrogate. This would be us two, creating a family. Destiny discovered that she's bisexual. Maybe because it's me. If it is, I'm blessed. And she still accepts that I'm still and always will be gay. But she's become a big part of my world, like you have. With what happened in my life, I can't see me with a male partner. Ever. But Destiny, he looked at her. When I'm with her, and I'm going to say this here and now, when we share our bed, it's not all about sex. It's about love, a true love, another way of Mandula. But she wants to start a family. She loves kids. Just ask Nikki, Gracie, River, Delta, Cody Jr., Sharon, Triumph, Mouse, Peaches, and Pumpkin. All the Mandela munchkins love her. You know where I stand with the kids and teens. I want kids too. Not that didn't come out right. Sorry. Dad, I got it. Storm chuckled. You and Mom want to be able to raise some children together, and I'm going to be their big brother and be in their lives, even if I'm at college and they're just learning to toddle. It'd be great. It's cool. I'd have a true family. Once more, like I did with Grandma Renella, Yaya and Yaya and Papu, and you and everyone when I was little. He wiped a tear. It'll be great. I thank you both. So it would be us starting a family. You, me as Dad, Destiny as Mom, and if we're lucky, a baby. Or 2 or 3, Destiny smiled. And Dad and I have talked about the possibility of adoption as well, like my folks did. But that's a little later on. And they may be a little older, in between your age and the children we may be blessed to give a life to. Would that be okay with you? Hell yeah, that would be great. You two would be fantastic as parents of kids that needed them. 3 would give us what my folks have. I'm not going for the record Mom and Dad Cranberry have. Ghram shook his head. But a couple adopted would be welcomed as well. Hey, they're Catholic. Destiny tapped him on the hand. Old Catholic, and 8 are adopted. But hell yeah, 18 is too much. We'll stop at 4 if Storm agrees. Him and 3 more through us, and we could adopt in between. Could you handle 3 little rugrats following you around and driving you bonkers, and maybe a few in between? She took his hand and gave it a gentle squeeze and released it. Would you two be getting married or just living together? 'Cause that didn't work in my world with Kathy, and not that you guys couldn't. Ghram took a breath. That's the tricky part. It all depends on what you say tonight. You got a say in this. You come first in this. Destiny and I have decided to wait until you're 18 if you're not comfortable with this. So, he reached into his pocket to take out a jeweler's box. No pressure. But this decision is up to you. Ghram set the box in front of Storm. Storm sucked in his lower lip. He looked at Ghram, then Destiny. Picking up the box, he opened it to see a princess-cut quarter-carat diamond ring. He took the ring out to hand to Ghram. It's beautiful, but Dad, you need to do something that's a tradition. That's to get on one knee. It's the only way that all of the Mandula men did it according to Grandmom, Mom Emily, and Auntie Sonny. Our other aunts said the same thing. Peggy, Gilly, Bet, Lottie, and Aunt Liliana. They said the only one that didn't was George for Ghram, and as far as they're concerned, she should have dumped him then and there, and, well, you need to follow the Mandula tradition. Ghram smiled and did as he was instructed. He took Destiny's right hand. Storm looked at her. Mom, will you please marry my dad and make us a whole family? Ghram waited. Destiny reached her left hand across the table to take Storm's right casket one. Yes, I will marry Dad and make us a family. Thank you. She smiled and squeezed his hand gently, then held out her left hand. Thank you, Storm blew out a breath. Ghram slid the ring on her finger. He leaned up and kissed her. Really kissed her, like Storm had only seen in the movies. A round of applause broke out. Chapter 78. The round of applause echoed through the pub. To Destiny and Ghram, may their union be a blessed one, for always and forever. Old Sean raised a glass and knocked it back as he stood behind the bar. The rest of the family and their customers did the same. Ghram broke the kiss and licked his lower lip. Storm sat back in the chair. Dad, Mom, how do we do this? Tomorrow I tell my family, and Dad and you tell yours. We set the date and start to get ready. The visitors I was telling you both about today, and the ones that had been creating havoc all today with your aunties over this wedding of theirs. And on the drive here, my phone rang. It was Maria, Sarah, and Dolly, my sisters at the bakery. They received several calls in regards to them speaking to different ones in the New Hope Bridal Venue mag to help get what these women wanted. They told my sisters if they helped them to do this, they would order the cake from them. First of all, these people never even stopped in the bakery or even looked at cake designs, and Maria's Cuban-French-American temper went. Sarah and Dolly had to keep her from going through the phone to strangle this broad that called. It was the bridezilla and monster-in-laws. Anastasia has been repairing the authentic Victorian gown my sister-in-laws and sisters found. Turns out it was my gown they wanted. Annie's Ukrainian Jewish temper apparently exploded when she found out they were handling it and tugging on it and were trying to change things with it. Ghram stood to take his seat. What? Oh, no, they did not. He looked at Storm. You'll be my best man with the Wizard of Iz, Jess the Ness, and Lightfoot, right? You know it, Dad. Mom, is your gown all right? Storm, I have not seen this gown. That's forbidden, and all our backgrounds, but in all our backgrounds. But I had been informed by several of your future aunts on Mom's side that this gown is from a collection of the British royal family from the Victorian era. That worries me. Ghram took a drink of his water. Babe, breathe. Yes, it's safe. There was some damage done. What? Ghram leaned in. Annie said she can repair it. The senior and Senor Cordero and Mrs. Shelley and Miss Colette are charging them for the damage to it and the damage to their boutique. It's already been reported to the police. Now, I want to be married at the Crystal Heart Lodge Inn B&B in the gazebo by the river. If that's okay, at sunrise. And Annie is working on the repairs to the antique wedding gown, and it's the one I felt called to me. Yes, I like that idea. Ghram eased himself back into the chair. And you will be gorgeous in whatever you choose to wear. Carrie brought over their drinks. Congratulations. Mr. Sean said all of your drinks are on him tonight. Thank you, Carrie, and tell him the same. And Blythe is working out great as our young associate. She's the best. Destiny smiled and showed her engagement ring. Oh, it's gorgeous. And I'll let Mom know she's doing good. She'll be so proud. Can I take your order? Are we ready? Ghram asked. This was followed by several nods. Carrie took their order and leaned down. The two guys, she wrinkled her nose, at the bar. They moved down a couple of stools. They like to pay for your engagement dinner. Mr. Calhoun, be careful. Polka Dot and Peekaboo are watching, and already Mr. Sean has made the call to let the police know they're here. He's trying to keep them here until they can send an officer or two. But it don't look like that may happen. They're squirming over there and getting agitated. However, they are on their way. Hide and seek is keeping Mr. Fran at bay by keeping him busy with playing with her daughter, Ireland. And she says even with her husband Bobby's hand as a restraint, that's not going to last for long. Mr. Fran handed Ireland to old Mr. Sean, and he's gunning for a reason to take at least one of them on. You may be the one who gives him the reason. Old Mr. Sean said Otis has made it known he is not happy about them being here. He knocked over both their beers, dousing them as they were watching you. That's why they moved a few stools down, because the bar got saturated. They've moved. I saw them earlier. Where are they? Ghram stiffened and looked to the bar, knowing there was a reason to be worried when it came to Reed and Reggie, but needing to confirm to himself that they were still in sight, especially with having both Storm and Destiny with him. The one in the blue button-down with the raunchy, highlighted golden blonde going through the brown. I don't know. Peekaboo said it's Reed Carlson. I know that name, but not well. I think my ex-father used to talk about him, but That one. The one in the brown sweater. That's one of my disowned father's buddies. I think his name is Robbie, Richie. I think he used to use RJ or R something with an R. I was only 12 the last time I saw either of them, my father or him. That was 6 years ago. Please be careful. I don't like the feeling I'm getting about them. It's like somebody's walking over my grave. Ghram scanned the bar. Got them. Reed smiled and raised his glass as Reggie gave an evil grin. His half-brother opened his wallet to fan 10 $100 bills, blew him a kiss, and then laid them on the damp bar to set his wallet down and stood to go. Ghram froze with his water glass halfway to his lips. Dad? Ghram? Babe? Destiny asked. Mr. Calhoun? Carrie started to step in front of him, like she was trying to put a wall up to protect him, and he could feel the crackle of electricity in the air. She's got her own gifts. Holy shit! That's why Ruby has been talking with Mom. She hasn't been trained in controlling them. Shit. I got an untrained young witch trying to protect me. This could go really downhill quick if her gifts manifest right now. And Destiny can't cover it because it will cause storms to form in full force. And damn it, I got no clue as to what either of them can do and don't want to find out with both of them manifesting at the same time and have an explosion to deal with that could take down the building. Then you got Otis, and I know he's here. He's lurking. And I know Ireland, as little as she is, can do things. Shit! Ghram sat there drumming his fingers on the table. He blinked twice, placed the glass to his lips, and took a sip, then set it down. The two at the bar took their jackets from the back of their stools, and Reed reached for the wallet as one or two folded large envelopes hit the floor. His foot hit them. One slid up against the bar rail, and the second slid down several stools and into the corner of the hall. Carrie jumped and was spun. She toppled towards Ghram, and he caught her around the waist when she went off balance to get her to land in the vacant seat at the table. Storm felt the brush of something large and furry push past him. Wide-eyed, he turned towards the bar as he felt the rush of wind, and it seemed as if other large dogs of some type shoved past. Suddenly, Reggie was on the floor and scrambling as he tried to get to his feet. Reed was shoved back against the bar and bent backwards, bouncing off of it as his wallet flew from his hand. It landed at some unseen point on the floor. This happened as he slid, ass-planting himself on the pine boards to struggle to regain his footing and hit the ground once more. Patrons' heads turned as not one, but a series of deep, menacing growls echoed through the 400-year-old establishment. Chapter 79. The growling and snarling continued of multiple dogs, but there were none in sight. Ghram stood from where he kept Carrie from hitting the floor with Destiny right next to him. Destiny studied the young, wide-eyed waitress with a hand on her shoulder. She felt the strength and power emanating from Carrie as well. Damn, my woman is good. Ghram glanced at her. Destiny gave a curt nod. Old Sean took a step back as glasses were dumped and several bottles were knocked about the bar. He grabbed his great-great-granddaughter to get her clear of the mayhem. No, Gampy Pappy, he not gonna hurt me. It be our sweet old Otis and his lassie, and they pups. I can see them. They got the puppies with them. The 2-year-old was shouting as he handed her off to her great-grandfather, Fran. Her great-grandfather passed her to her father, his grandson-in-law, and the bartender. Bobby turned to move her away from the explosion of glasses and alcohol bottles. These explosions now shattered the men and the bar stools. In both directions, they emptied of gentlemen and ladies to get clear of the raining glass and bottles that hit the bar and then the floor. Besides exploding, they began to tumble and roll on the floor as the two men under fire were attempting to get away from the onslaught. I be knowing that they won't be hurting ye, lassie, but you don't need to be getting cut by glass. Bobby, move her now to the kitchen. Otis, don't be shattering me old mirror, or there be nay a treat for you for a long while. The huge mirror behind the bar quivered and vibrated. A whiskey bottle flew past old Mr. Shawn as he ducked. It struck Reed in the back of the head to knock him forward and send him sprawling on the floor. Strawberry and cream, that be me Jameson Irish whiskey. Ye be being careful there. Lost with me private stock, if you please. Be careful there, lassie. I know you be pissed, but Elam, have her mind me stock. You be buying that for this old man afore you shipped out for that damned war, and I be making a promise it only be open when our Ireland be married. Don't ye two be having me promise be broken to that baron. Old Shawn shouted into the chaos as he made a grab to pick up the whiskey bottle. He ducked as a bottle of Canadian Windsor missed his nose. It collided to almost lay Reggie out as it slammed him in the side of the head. Graham's green eyes went from the deep forest greens to almost a black as he shouted, I suggest you two get the hell out of here right now before Otis rips you apart. His own long hair started to swirl in the non-existent breeze. Reed's eyes went wide as he was pummeled by ice cubes from out of nowhere. You son of a bitch, Reed pointed at him. He's a fucking witch. Reggie got nailed in the jaw with a low ball glass that sent him spinning. Damn right I am. Graham rubbed his fingers together on his right hand. It emitted sparks. 2 beer bottles dumped over Reggie as he made it to his feet. Reed pushed himself off the floor to be slammed against the bar once more as his feet slid on the ice. His high-pitched squeal escaped between clenched teeth as he grabbed his groin and doubled over. Reggie grabbed him by the back of the shirt, and they scrambled and shuffled from the building, leaving their jackets as they fled. The sound of multiple clicking of dog-packed nails on the floor of the hardwood that seemed to be in hot pursuit and the continuation of deep growls followed the men out the door. I believe not only did Otis strike, but I think he brought half his pack with him. And I would say that we were just made witness to the homecoming of 2 of O'Shaughnessy's Marines in the fray. Carrie's eyes continued to blink wide as she giggled. Oh my word, did you see that bottle fly off that shelf? Are you all right? Graham asked as she stood, his hair now starting to settle around his shoulders. Yes, that was interesting, to say the least. I have a story for Mom and the girls tonight. I want you to speak to your mom. She has spoken to my mom and several of my aunts in the coven. You have gifts. I could feel them tonight. and you need to be trained to safeguard them. Yourself and your sisters and Mom. Will you do that for me? Yes, sir. I'll be on it too. Thank you. Are you sure you're all right? I mean, with him? Ghram looked from Destiny to Storm. They nodded. We're fine, he smiled. Fuck, Dad, I felt a dog. Then several of them. And they were bigger than Lady Lobo. It brushed against me first, and then I felt them. I felt its fur. Storm blinked, looking at his father. Should I, He sat back and looked up to the ceiling. Thank you, Otis. Well put. Ghram sat back down. Otis and his pack just sent the pace for tonight. I believe Carrie is correct, and we just saw Strawberry and Cream show she is very upset about what happened 10 years ago and let them know it. And it appears Little Ireland has the gift of a medium. Thank you, Carrie. Ghram saluted and raised his glass. Thank you very much, Otis, and to your pack. And here's to this family, the O'Shaughnessy's. The patrons of the pub stood to give an ovation to the family. Carrie smiled and stepped away after taking their order. We're going to celebrate as planned in honor of Otis, Destiny. He reached for her hand while his trembled. As you saw, Reed and Reggie Collier just saluted our marriage, and Otis made fools out of them with Strawberry and Creams and Ilium's help in front of everyone before they could exit stage left. Reed laid $1,000 on that bar to try to send a message to me, his air kiss. That was his and his father's way of stating they had bought and paid for me. It isn't going to work. No, not happening. Not happening ever. I won't deal with that shit. I, as you saw, had a freeze frame as I remembered that shit. Nobody owns my body except my beautiful wife, who I give it to freely. And I think Otis would approve of what I'm thinking. The restaurant doors opened for 2 officers to walk in. They looked around the room and the chaos and mayhem that had occurred, and went directly to the bar to speak to the owners. The family and even patrons helped as they picked things up to put broken glass into trash barrels. Gotcha, I agree, but I will never own your body because I love you and you have my heart. Bless Carrie and her family with it as a tip. They can use it for Christmas and New Year's. We continue to celebrate, and tonight I'm spending the night at your home. Okay, Ghram agreed. Change of plans. I want to tell your folks our decision and ask your mom and dad for their blessing. And if any of my antiques in storage can benefit the B&B, because I know they lost several in the burglary 20-plus years ago and haven't been able to find replacements for some of them. That will allow me to figure what can be used at your place as well, so I can shut down the studio and put it on the market to rent. And we'll need to figure out about Jingle and Jangle and about the birds. She bit her cheek. Mom, the dogs won't have a problem with them. They like cats, Storm stated. That will be good. And you know, if Xavier and Charo don't hear me moving upstairs, they're going to freak. They became mine on 9/11. He squeezed her hand. You're right, but wrong on one account. I am? She looked at him and then to Storm. Storm, do you know where Mom is wrong on her statement? Ghram took a deep breath and sat back. Yep, she said your home. She should have said our home. Destiny made a face by scrunching her nose. You're both right. Our home. Thank you. And that sounds wonderful. But what about... Mom, I think the dogs, they'd be able to get to know the birds as well. Storm shrugged. Dad can always build an aviary or some type for them like he did at your salon. We'll have to get Uncles Chris and Pat with Dad to build them I don't think a cage would be good in the house, but an area, a habitat like they have at the salon. Dad, can we build a catio for Jingle and Jangle like the king cats have at the end? I don't see why not. The patio is screened in. I'm sure the uncles and I could figure an attachment to it for them and secure the back screen door so they'd be safe. Like the cage tunnel the guys at the inn have to go through the back porch and into their yard. And a habitat for Xavier and Charo would be nothing to build. That's just a where or how to do it fit it into the living room area, and to make sure they would have their limbs and branches to climb on, and a flight area so they wouldn't collide with the ceiling fans or the chandelier in the dining room. We could even take out a window in the living room and build a branch area out of it so that they could go out there into a screened area and have, storm windows put in for the fall and the winter. No prob. Carrie brought their meals. You can really smell wet giant schnauzer over there. She nodded to the bar. They must have ran all the way from the farm in the rain to get here. Her eyes sparkled as she set the platters down, and Mr. Sean double-checked his private bottle. She didn't bust. If she would have, I would have purchased him another one. Honey, Ghram stopped her as she went to turn. The money Reed left for our meal, you keep that as a tip. Tell your mom to use it for Christmas and New Year's, and to get the girls what they may still need that hasn't been purchased. It won't change what Billy did to your mom and you girls, but I hope it will just help a bit to bring some joy this coming holiday. I have an account here, as you know. Oh, Mr. Calhoun. She looked at Destiny, who nodded. Thank you so much. She threw her arms around him and quickly stepped back. Oh, I'm sorry about that. It's okay, Destiny reassured. You're welcome, Ghram chuckled. I'll accept a hug from a pretty lady any day of the week. Carrie bounced on her toes and bowed. As she stepped away, there was a skip and a spring to her steps. Let me make a call to Jim and Reed and follow up on the call Mr. Sean made to use. And I should speak to those officers anyway. They are two of Dakota's new arrival on the force. One's from Mississippi, I think, and the other, I think, is from the State Patrol in Hawaii. I'll explain the move I pulled to Storm, as you already understand my motives on this situation with Ruby and the girls. He stood to go to the bar and spoke to them, then was showed to the office down the hallway where the sign for the cell phone booths were, as several of the O'Shaughnessy's cleaned up the bar and the area. And there we will stop for today. If you like the story so far, please like and subscribe. We will continue on the next situation and to figure out where exactly Reed is and what is going on. It seems that the police were a few moments late in getting there to do anything. But the question is, what's next and what is Reed up to? Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this and have a blessed day. We will see you on the next one.